Hello, hello! Welcome to today's video. If we've never met before and this is your first time seeing my face, my name is Becca and I'm really glad that you're here. Today I'm going to be taking you through every single plant I own, which is quite a few, so get ready, get some popcorn, stick with me through the end of the video because there's some really cool stuff in this house, I think. If you enjoy houseplants, you're definitely going to like this channel, so don't forget to subscribe, and I think that's all I have to say. So let's get started. First stop on the plant tour, we have my kitchen. On top of my refrigerator sits this gigantic golden pothos, and it trails all the way down to the bottom here. It almost touches the floor, so it's a super long, hey, no, not good, not good. He, for the most part, is not interested in my plants unless I do something like that, and then he's like, what's that? The next plant over here is my ZZ Raven cutting that I got from Not Dude. The roots are looking really beautiful. It actually is getting one of those bulbs on the bottom, so I think that it'll be ready to plant soon. But it is just so beautiful. I cannot wait to see how this plant does and all the shoots that it's going to put off as well. This is just a cutting of Philodendron Brazil. I need to add it to one of my many variety pots of different kinds of philodendron, but this is just a little cutting that I got from a plant swap. I like to acquire little cuttings like this to just add to that pot because I think that they look really beautiful and they root really well and they're just super easy to care for in general. So in this jar I have 3 whale fins, and I'll probably be selling or giving these away soon. I haven't decided, but they do have really beautiful roots and I just need to decide what to do with them because they're probably ready to be planted as well. The next plant in my kitchen is this variegated Hindu rope, and it sits on this wicker throne on my counter. It used to sit in the window, but I noticed that it was getting just a little bit too much light, so I moved it to this spot, and it's super happy there. Right next to it usually sits my watermelon peperomia. She is so beautiful and stunning and also doing so much better in this spot. It used to be on the windowsill as well, and I was just noticing that it was just a little bit too much light for her. A lot of the leaves would get bleached out. There's some new babies coming up underneath, and I'm just really happy to see that she's happy. I also have right here an avocado leaf, and I don't really know why I started this. I'm probably not going to keep it, but I just wanted to see if I could do it again. I have once before gotten one to root. If you're curious, I used the plastic bag method by basically just wrapping this in wet paper towels, putting it in a plastic bag, and then putting the plastic bag in a dark place. I would just keep it in one of my cupboards, and it worked out pretty well. I'm 2 for 2. Oops. Here is a very backlit overview of my windowsill. So this is my view as I'm doing the dishes or just looking out the window, hanging out, cooking, or whatever. You will have seen this plant already in my most recent update video. It has put out a disgusting amount of new growth, which is a good thing, obviously. I'm just really happy that it's so much happier inside. So this plant lives in easily the brightest spot in my whole house, which is this corner here. It gets a lot of light. I think that this window is, well, it is an east window, but it also gets that southern exposure in this little corner. So the light comes from that corner into here, and it just hits right here almost all day. All right, the next plant that lives in that windowsill is this Pilea peperomioides. This is actually the base of the mother plant that snapped off. I talked about that in my Pilea video. And so these are just a bunch of babies that are doing really well. This actually looks very similar to my Pilea salad bowl that I made that was also made up of a bunch of babies. The babies are having babies at this point, which is very exciting, and it's super happy and healthy. Here is a Hoya Wayettii in a beautiful pot. I actually talk details about this plant in my Hoya video that will be going up. So here's a sneak peek of a beautiful Hoya in my collection. And another Hoya in my collection in a beautiful pot is the Hoya Hindu rope. This is just the green variety. So I have a variegated one, and then this one's the green one. It has grown so much. All of this is new and all of that is new. So I'm just really happy to see that it is finally doing something and happy in my care. It really loves being in an east window, so that is always good because I have an abundance of those in this house. Here is my gorgeous pink syngonium. I am so happy with this plant. A lot of people told me that it might be a problem child, but so far, so good. I haven't had really any issues with it at all. Okay, so this is another planty corner. I usually keep a lot of things propagating in my kitchen. They just do super well in here, I've noticed, and it's a place where I come often so I can check on them. So as I mentioned before, I have another pink syngonium. I actually got this from my secret planta. So there's 2 accounts on Instagram, plant_mom and will plant for food, and they actually put together a secret Santa, but it was secret planta. And basically you get paired up with someone randomly and you get a wish list and you tell them what you want, and then they send you what they can from your list and maybe some extra goodies. And so I got this beautiful plant. It is so full. It is actually bigger than the one that I have right now, and I have it in water right now, just kind of acclimating because it was a bit deflated. So I'll probably be planting this very soon, maybe in a video. And then also this Hartley philodendron was a bit deflated, so I put it in water as well. They both have really beautiful and healthy root systems, so I'm excited to add these to my collection. They will definitely be some solid plants. Over here, my secret planta also sent me some Monstera Peru, which I am over the moon excited about. She sent it to me in sphagnum moss, which is my first time ever really interacting with sphagnum moss for this long. Usually I just kind of toss it, but it seems to be doing really well in here, so I'm just going to leave it for a few days while it gets acclimated to its new space, and then I will pot it up. Next to that Monstera Peru is the Monstera Peru that I got in the plant swap. It was actually on a shelf in a pot already, as you might have seen in my Monstera collection video, but, okay, we're focusing on the wrong plant here. There we go. But that shelf actually fell and the pot broke, which is really sad. And I was super stressed because it's putting out this new leaf, but it seems to be doing okay even despite the accident. The root system is still looking good and the new leaf is still looking good. So hopefully when I pot it up again soon, it will be happy with me. This is a newer plant that I got and I haven't really showed it yet, but I am going to be making a video about basically potting it up, making this moss pole, and then attaching the plant to the moss pole. So if you are interested in this process, definitely stay tuned for what that will entail. I actually got this plant from Europe. I ordered it from Plant That Plant, and it's a Monstera Peru. It is so beautiful. These leaves are literally massive, so definitely check out that video when it comes out. And 2 plants that I very recently got. They're still in the nursery pot from the store. They are syngonium. I don't know exactly which kind of syngonium, and I'm not even sure if they're the same kind of syngonium. So this leaf looks kind of different than this leaf. Like, different enough that they might be a different plant. So let me know what you think. I'm definitely on a syngonium craze currently, so let me know if you think that's the same kind of syngonium or if it's a different one. And if you know the ID on either of them, let me know. Okay, in this jar I have my personal whale fin, and it was in a pot for a while. If you saw my Sansevieria collection, it was in a pot. But what I noticed, it just wasn't super solid in that pot, like it was falling over a lot. So I took it out of the pot and I noticed that the root system was basically gone. I have no clue what happened to it. But I put it in water and it has built up some roots again, and actually is putting out a pup. So that is so exciting. I'm just really happy to see that this plant is still happy and healthy, because this is a very beautiful whale fin and I would have been so sad to lose it. This is a Sansevieria Moonshine. I got this in a plant swap as well. She is such a beauty, putting out these 2 new leaves, and there's actually another one inside coming, and they are so pale, which is extremely exciting, and that's really all I can say about it. It sits back here, I don't know, maybe 7 feet from a window, and it's doing super well and it's very happy. Okay, so my bathroom is the home of many plants. It's a great place for my plants. The lighting is amazing, and also it gets pretty humid in here, obviously. So I was so happy to have a bathroom with windows, because having plants in the bathroom is literally the best thing ever. Okay, so let's take a closer look at all of these. So here is some of the Maranta that I cut off to propagate. It has been putting out some nice roots, and it's probably ready to be planted soon. I might give it another few days and then it'll be ready. Here is one of my most special plants. It is my Calathea orbifolia, And look at how beautiful she is. She's getting some good light from the window, but not too much. And also, I constantly have a humidifier going right next to her and a pebble tray. And the reason that I'm taking all these precautions is because I live in a very dry and hot state. This is the newest leaf that has come out, and also this is a new leaf. So very, very shiny, very, very beautiful. All right, the next plant in this area is my Samurai Sansevieria. This is definitely not a permanent home for this plant, but it is good for now. I don't really know where else to put it at this moment. I could probably pot it up and put it anywhere, but until I pot it up, I'm just gonna leave it here because it works here. It's a nice addition. It's a little bit different than the two foliage pieces next to it, but these edges are super, super sharp, and I can see why it's called the Samurai Sansevieria. I picked this up in a plant shopping video, actually, my Arid Lands plant shopping video, and a couple people commented that you can actually order from them online, which is really exciting because they have so many different kinds of Sansevieria. Honestly, I think there's a lot of rare varieties in their shop as well, so make sure that you go check them out. I will see if I can put their website in the description. This plant is a monster. It is my Syngonium podophyllum. It's just a green beauty, and these leaves are getting bigger and bigger and literally putting out a new leaf like every single day. I am absolutely amazed. I love Syngoniums. I can't believe that it took me until now to figure out how amazing they are. It really fills in the space right there nicely, and it just is really loving this spot. So this is my Maranta. It is experiencing some issues. We've got a lot of yellowing leaves, and I have no idea why. I'm kind of troubleshooting why that is. They are older leaves again, so that's not as concerning to me since they're older leaves, but I am kind of keeping an eye on it and figuring out what's going on. I am going to go through and do some pruning and getting off all of the dead growth, just so that, I don't know, it's putting energy into the beautiful alive growth. Kind of smothered by this plant is my Hoya Curtsii, and I love this plant. It's beautiful. I'm probably going to be splitting this up into several plants and just dispersing them around because this is a huge, huge plant. It's packed in here. Here's my string of hearts. It is growing amazingly fast. Let me show you all the way down. Keep going, and there's the end. It is pretty tangled. I need to untangle it, and it looks like it needs some water, but basically with this plant, I just ignore it, and it does really well. And the top is looking really nice. The top is really the only part that actually gets direct light, and the rest of it seems to be happy too. Ideally, I would have it on a shelf, like a tall shelf, so that more of the leaves down here could get light, because I'm noticing that they're pretty small. Okay, here is the newest addition to my bathroom plants. It is this acrylic shelf, and it actually hangs by these suction cups, and I don't know if I can recommend this yet. I'm literally just trying it out now. I bought two of them, and one of them, the second one was like right here, and it actually fell off, and a bunch of my plants fell with it and broke, and the pots broke, and I was really, really sad. So I'm just not sure if I can recommend these yet. I think that the shelf itself is great and like has great structural integrity. Like it also has this extra little piece right here to just hold it up even more. But the thing is, the suction cups, I just don't know how reliable they are. I followed all the instructions on the packaging and it still fell. However, this one is doing a lot better. I have some plants on it. I do trust this specific shelf, but the other one I'm not sure. I think that what I'm going to do is secure it extra well with some command strips, like the Velcro ones, and then I'll feel much better about putting my plants on these shelves. But yeah, okay, let me talk about the plants that are here. This is a Hoya Crimson Princess. It's putting out some new leaves here and a new branch in here, and you'll hear more about that plant in my Hoya collection video. And also you'll hear more about this one. This is what is left of my Hoya linearis. I'll talk about what happened with that. And then this is my watermelon peperomia propagation. So the baby leaves are in the back. Let's see if I can get them in here. You probably already saw this in a different video that I just released about just an update on my plants. So you can see really well how botched these mother leaves are, but the babies are in there and they're doing really well. This is a Hoya macrophilia variegata. It was one of the victims that fell when this bottom shelf fell, so I'm a little bit sad about that. One of the leaves is pretty, it's in pretty bad shape, but the rest of the plant looks okay, so hopefully it will make a recovery. This is an ever-changing plant shelf in my house. I'm always just kind of changing it up, switching things around, and I really like having the freedom to do that. So this is my Satin Pothos Exotica, or Scindapsus pictus exotica. This plant, as I've mentioned before, started from 4 leaves that were about this size, and now the plant has so many leaves, it's insane. It has started to trail several times, but every single time I just kind of cut it back and then propagate and put them back in the pot. I have some pieces up here that I'm doing that with currently. This is the variety pot that I mentioned previously. So in this pot I have traditional Brazil. I also have silver stripe Brazil, or just silver stripe philodendron I think it's called, all the way down to here. And then I also just recently planted in some lemon lime philodendron. And then actually this piece that is supposed to be just regular philodendron Brazil has put out some beautiful neon pieces, so that's exciting in itself. Okay, the next plant is my heartleaf philodendron, which, similar story to this one, I started from just a few leaves as well. It was just a very small vine, and it has grown to be quite large. Let me pick it up so that we can see how big it is. It's so full and beautiful. It actually needs some water, so it's usually a lot more fluffy than this. A lot of my plants that are grouped together are oftentimes in the same watering schedule. It just worked out that way, and I'm glad that it worked out that way, because with this many plants you would hope for some sort of schedule to arise, because that's really the only way that you will stay sane watering all of them. I'm standing on a stool for optimal viewing up here. This is my beautiful, gorgeous philodendron micans. It is also in need of water, as I mentioned with this plant. So it is curling up a little bit. That is how you know that the philodendron micans needs water. Its leaves will curl up a little bit like this. So half of this plant was ordered from Gabriella Plants online, and half of it was gifted to me by a friend. I'm definitely going to be cutting this long trailing piece off to propagate it. This is just a random set of spider plants that I have, and I really have no attachment to this. I have so many spider plants, they just grow babies like crazy. So I just put them in a pot and I'm just letting them do their thing, I guess. This is a little variety pack of propagation pieces. I have a Syngonium podophyllum and then I think that's what it's called. And then I have a Rhapidorpha tetrasperma. This is the real Rhapidorpha. There is like a bootleg Rhapidorpha going around, but this is an original. However, it's not growing anything, and I've had it for a really long time. So it was in soil, and I put it back in water to see if anything would happen, and so far, nothing. So I don't know. We'll see. It's still beautiful no matter what happens, but I would love for it to grow a plant. As mentioned previously, here is some Scindapsus pictus exotica cuttings. I will be planting these back into the original pot in a few days. And then lastly, on this shelf, I have some beautiful variegated Syngonium cuttings. I actually could take more cuttings off of my plant now because it's definitely filled out again since I made this cut. So we will see if I'll be doing more of that in the future. So this is a very important plant corner in my house. I have a lot of my favorite plants in here, and I will go and give you a closer look at all of them. So this is my first fiddle leaf fig ever. I got this in a plant swap, and I am so excited. Unfortunately, on the drive home, it did not fare very well, so it experienced a lot of, I don't know, burn or just like general shock. So this happened to a lot of the leaves. Some of the leaves just fell off altogether, but since all of that happened, it has put out a bunch of beautiful new healthy leaves with more on the way down here. So hopefully this will be a turnaround. It is my very first fiddle leaf fig ever, and I've always been really scared of this plant, so it's been a really great place for me to start and at least learn just more about what it likes. This tray houses more Pilea peperomioides. This is my salad bowl, and I'll lift it up so you can see it is very big, and I'm very excited to see that all of these plants are coexisting very well together. I'd say that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants all together in this, and they're getting really, really big. This is my original mama, and She, as you can tell, is not doing amazing. Something just happened all of a sudden after she snapped off, and she just is not very happy. I'm doing my best to revive her, and there is some new growth at the top here, so hopefully that is an indication that she's doing better. But yeah, I'm not sure how long this one is going to last. And this is the first baby that I ever took off of my Mama Pilea. So it's doing really well. As you can see, super, super happy, well-rounded growth. And I'm excited to have this one have babies soon. We will see when that happens. So this is my first houseplant ever. It is a burgundy rubber tree. Somebody in my ficus video asked me if it is a burgundy rubber tree or a green rubber tree because it looks like both. Honestly, I've been confused about this since I got it because some leaves have very burgundy qualities. Like this one, you can see the back of the leaf is reddish, but a leaf just under it has the green variety bit. So I don't know if this is like an accident plant, like it's some sort of hybrid and it wasn't meant to actually do that, but the newest leaf that it popped out is also like a burgundy vibe. So some of the leaves will have this like reddish and some of them will have like a greenish thing. So no clue why that is, no clue what's going on there, but I am happy that this plant is still alive nonetheless. We have another beautiful leaf that recently came out. I think it like fully popped out yesterday, and with it came another one. So hopefully this is the start of a bunch of burgundy leaves because yeah, it's been a little bit confusing lately. Oh, here's a perfect example. Look at this. Two leaves that came out right after each other. One is green and one is burgundy. Someone please explain that to me. It's very confusing. Here is my beautiful Thai constellation. Her most white leaf is starting to turn, which is so sad, but it was definitely a good run with this piece of white. And in exchange for this, we're getting another leaf, which is extremely exciting. I was not expecting to get a new leaf so soon, but apparently she is very, very happy. And I think that that leaf is going to look a lot like this one as far as coloring goes, which is so beautiful, and I'm excited to see what it looks like. Right above that is my Rhapidorpha tetrasperma. It is constantly putting out new growth. As you can see, this is a new leaf here, new leaf here, new leaf here, and another leaf on the way, which looks like, oh, it doesn't have splits for some reason. But on another branch, we have these beautiful leaves. So it's just really, really good news all around for this plant. It's really loving this moss pole that I made for it. Actually, I had this moss pole just sitting around, and I made a tutorial on how to make these moss poles. So if you want to see that, I will have it linked. This is my variegated syngonium. She is such a beautiful plant. I've talked about her a lot lately. This leaf is new. It looks like it has a lot of white on it. She's just growing so fast, putting out so much new growth. And I'm actually learning that I love the way that she looks when she's pruned back, so I will probably be doing more pruning like I mentioned earlier. I don't usually prefer this, but I think that I would like to have multiples of this plant sitting around, so probably will be potting up those cuttings separately and then putting them in their own pot. Alright, now back here, this might be a little bit difficult to see the other leaves, but this huge leaf has come from my little baby Monstera deliciosa, which is definitely not a baby anymore. This leaf is massive. If you can see the hand comparison, it is almost as big as the leaves that are coming up on this plant, which is just ridiculous to me. So it is on this moss pole here, if you can see all the way down there, and it sits in a plant stand so that it can be off of the floor, and it's just putting out so many beautiful leaves. I'm just completely overwhelmed with how gorgeous she is. Okay, so I moved some plants so that you could see these twin plant stands. I got these from Joann's, and they were actually on like super sale. So this one was $18, this one was maybe like $15 or $10. So really great deal on both of those. They are kind of hidden away. I would love for them to be a little more up front and center, but because these plants are a little bit taller, they do get to go in the back, unfortunately. Raise your hand if you were someone who always got put in the back because you were tall. Last plant in this room is this gigantic Monstera deliciosa. She has put out so many beautiful leaves since I adopted her from someone on Craigslist, and I'm just so happy to see all of this growth. Look at that massive leaf. And there is also another leaf on the way in here, if you can see that. So really exciting stuff. This plant is huge. It's in a really, really big pot, so it can be difficult to tell if it needs water. So I will stick a moisture meter in here, or I will look at these like tiny little leaves on the bottom and see if they're drooping. And if these ones are drooping, that usually means that it needs water. So right now it's doing okay, but we'll probably need water soon because these kind of look like they're on the way to be drooping. In my living room, I have a little setup here. This is a shoe stand, and I've just put plants on top of it because, of course. Here I have my Hoya pubic calyx, and it sits up here, and it's really happy here. From this angle, I can see a lot of new growth. Always love to see a lot of new growth and a lot of really beautiful splashes on the leaves. So just really happy with this plant in general. Here I have a really beautiful Peperomia frost, and it's actually sitting in a cashpo, and it's just really, really happy here. I can't really explain it in any other way. It's constantly in bloom, and I actually almost gave this plant away, and I'm really happy that I didn't because it's recently put out a bunch of new growth. As you can see, a bunch of this little baby growth down here. So super exciting stuff. I'm really glad that I kept it. And then lastly on this table is my Hoya obovata. Love this plant so much, although I'm not sure if it loves me. It's not really been putting out new growth, but that's okay. Nonetheless, it is a beautiful plant and already had a lot of growth on it. So because it was a big plant already, I'm okay with the fact that it wasn't really doing much lately. And here's my variegated puppy. You are so excited. All right, so for the next section of the houseplant tour, I'm going to move on to right here. I will warn you in advance, my camera's probably going to go in and out of focus quite a bit because it just does that anytime the lighting is not incredible, especially when I'm filming in auto mode, which I currently am. So anyway, disclaimer aside, let's get started. So this is a beautiful Chinese evergreen, and it is one of my oldest plants, and it was actually given to me by a friend. This plant is always putting out really beautiful leaves on a consistent basis, even through winter, I noticed. So we have a few coming in now, and actually since it's been in this spot, it's getting a lot less light than it used to get, so it's putting leaves out at a less rate, not as often. If you're ever looking for an easygoing, beautiful plant that will never die, I would definitely go for a Chinese evergreen. They're so beautiful and can teach you a lot about plants. Next over here is my plant, which I call the Iron Throne. If you've ever watched Game of Thrones, you will know why. This is a huge, huge starfish sansevieria. These individual poles are so thick, which I'm just so happy about. When I found it in the nursery, it was falling over in the pot because it was so top heavy. So the first thing I did was put it in some terracotta. I don't usually repot a plant super quickly after I buy it, but with this plant I kind of needed to because it had been sideways most of its life, I'm convinced. So it has recently put out a little pup, which is incredibly exciting. It's not so little anymore, but this is her, and I'm just very excited to find more of them coming up soon. This next plant is also another one of my oldest plants. I got this on Craigslist from a really weird seller, to be honest. I never went back because it was very weird. But anyway, it is putting out a lot of new growth, especially over here and in here and also right here. So that's probably the most new growth I've ever seen on this plant. A couple of months ago, it was having some weird rot on the top of it, and I just cut those pieces out. You can see what I cut out because the tops are cut off. Basically, I cut those pieces out of the pot, and I also cut off the rot on the top, and that did help the plant regain its health because for a little while, honestly, I thought that it was going to die. But we have had a full recovery, and it's so thick and beautiful. If you noticed, this is my odds and ends plant stand section. Now we're going to move on to this bookshelf. So the top of this bookshelf, I have a pretty large pothos jade pothos. Why did I say it in that order? I've had this plant for a while as well. I bought this plant when I was really stressed out one day in college, like I just needed some retail therapy, and the label actually called it a philodendron, and I was like, ooh, I'm so cute with my philodendron. And then I was looking closer and realized this is most certainly pothos. So it's definitely doing a lot. It's growing so many new vines. Next to that, I have a permanent water resident. This is just some pothos cuttings, and they live in this little jar at all times, and it's just really beautiful greenery. And you know, I don't ever plan on moving it from this water. I just like the way it looks in there. And also, if you can see in the back, that is my wedding invitation. So I thought I would frame it and just put it on the shelf too. This is definitely one of my funnier plants. It's a cutting of some philodendron Rio, or maybe it's silver stripe, I can't really tell, the leaves are so small. Down here I have Marble Queen Pothos. Basically self-explanatory, she's really self-sufficient, doesn't need much. Okay, so we are now to my patio in the houseplant tour. I hope that you're still with me. I am recording with an external mic in hopes that the wind and the road noise will not come up as much. It is very loud here because I live on a main street and it is a bit of a windy day, so I'm hoping that we will be able to understand me without the sounds of the city ruining our moment here. So over here we have my cactus gardens. They love this spot so far. I've had a really awesome growth track with this spot. It gets some partially shaded sun because there is a big mesquite tree. This is a native tree in Tucson actually. This one I made a long time ago and it is honestly my favorite one. It's so cute. I have a totem pole cactus here. I have 3 different kinds of euphorbia. This one right here is called a dragon bone euphorbia. Basically, it's just a really beautiful white color. And I have another one that's a little bit less covered, so you'll be able to see more of the details. This is just a regular green euphorbia, and it's really happy, as you can see from these leaves, or maybe they're flowering. And then I have the purple one. It does have a bit of a purplish hue, but it is kind of more green than anything right now. Either way, that's fine with me. It's really cute. This is just a random echeveria. I don't know really which kind it is. I really am not great at IDing succulents. And back here is an aloe. This, I have no idea what it's called. I totally forgot. I did show it in the past video, so hopefully it's on the screen. This little guy is called a pincushion cactus, and it has grown a lot. That skinny bit at the top would be new growth. This is another just random echeveria. It's not doing particularly amazing, but it is still alive, and that is what's good for me. There is another cactus hidden back there, or sorry, succulent hidden back there, and don't know the name. I think it's like a zebra or something like that, but it's kind of hidden behind the totem pole. So that would be this first little set of cactus. I have a dragon bone cactus here, which is potted separately. So you can really see how beautiful this one is. It's grown really, really tall. When I first bought it, it was significantly shorter than that plant. It was probably, well, actually you can see it was this tall. That was the growth. So this is how much it's grown since I have had it since March. And also these arms have gotten longer too, obviously. So just a little gauge to see. These actually grow super, super fast, and they're just really happy plants here. I don't know what kind of cactus this one is, but they are very popular in Tucson in landscaping. You'll see just like a bunch of these cactus just in like pillars all over the place. When they get old enough and they flower, the flowers are really, really striking. And this is my most recent cactus garden, which you will have seen. I have, oh, gross! Okay, this is a totem pole cactus. Back here is some sort of kalanchoe. It's doing pretty well. This is a Sirius blue, something like that. This is called a peanut cactus. I don't know what this one is called, but it's really cool. You can see this new growth right here. And then this is a cutting from my Jacob's Coat prickly pear, and it is growing another pad. Ew! I'm really exposed to the elements here, you guys. Anyway, it's growing another pad. It's really cute. Back here was where my bear paw cactus was, but on my trip it just disintegrated, and I'm confused to say the least, but it just wasn't strong enough, I guess. And then here I have another dragon bone cactus. So I've got a lot of these. They're so beautiful. They're like really one of my favorite types of euphorbia. I just called it a cactus on accident. Plant police, don't come for me. I don't know the name on this particular cactus, but it is so beautiful. As you can see, it is a blue hue. It has a bluish hue and like kind of fuzzy growth all around it. And this spiral cactus was on the top of my wish list for a really long time. And then I posted about it on Instagram, and actually somebody told me that these were being sold at a local nursery here for 50 bucks. There was a much bigger one for $100. Still pretty expensive, but I guess for a rare cactus, not bad. As it matures, it'll spiral more, but they said that it'll definitely start branching out eventually, and the branches will be spirally, and it'll just be a really cool plant. Welcome to my small cactus nursery. I have my cuttings of my Jacob's Coat prickly pear down here in these little nursery pots. They're doing pretty great. A lot of them are putting out extra arms, so that's really sweet to see. Here I have a buddy ear cactus, and I'm not super attached to it. I thought it was really cute when I bought it, and it's gotten really big since then, but it's just really not doing it for me anymore, I'm gonna be honest. And then I have another dragon bone cactus here. Let me turn it to the side. It's doing a little bit of a lean. This is just a basic aloe plant. It's like a medicinal aloe plant, and I have used it before for my skin, and it worked really well. This is a philodendron hope, and it has seen much better days. I have it outside right now because I don't really have space for it elsewhere. I'm just not in love with this plant anymore, I'm gonna be honest, and that's maybe why I've kept it outside even though it should be inside. This is my original spider plant. It is the first spider plant I ever bought, and it's so beautiful. It's gotten so big. It has put out so many babies, and I'm just really happy with it. That's really all I have to say. Spider plants are a classic plant. You should definitely get one if you don't already have one in your collection. This is my rubber tree, which was a ruby rubber tree, but I think has just converted to a taniki or just a variegated rubber tree. I'm not really sure, but the leaves are just not super variegated, even though it sits outside. You can see that it's getting some like direct sun right now. Still, we're just not getting a ton of action. As you can see, this is the most recent leaf, and just not a lot of variegation on it, which I'm really surprised about. But nonetheless, she is beautiful, and I will continue to love her. Are you kidding me? Another one of these. This is my Ficus altissima. It's definitely one of my weirdest plants. The wind kind of blows it over a lot, but it's, you know, it's handling itself pretty well. As you can see, there was a point in its life where it lost a lot of leaves and then started to feel better. So I have all of this new growth at the top. This is the first leaf that it put out that it was like healthy and actually grew to be a normal size. This is the biggest leaf that it has put out in my care. So it's super, super gorgeous. We've got two more that are really normal, and this is the most recent leaf, and it's still in the process of getting bigger. Down here are my two Jacob Coat prickly pears. They are the weirdest shaped prickly pears ever, but I really enjoy them. I think they're really funny. I was noticing that the pads were just super elongated, so I brought them over to the other side of the patio where they would get more direct light, and I think that they're a lot happier here. This part's going to be a little bit more difficult to film because it's backlit, but this is my rickrack cactus. If you saw in my first houseplant tour, if you're still here from then, this was much smaller. It did not have nearly as much growth, and it has kind of just taken off. It looks like someone had a bad hair day. I love it so much. It loves this spot outside. I think even when I move my plants inside, this one will still stay out here because it's just doing so well. Up here is a spider plant, and this is actually a baby off of one of my other plants. This bug is literally just following us around. Incredible. Yeah, so it's doing all right. This is another spider plant. This is a curly spider plant. There is a lot of crunchy growth on it because we had a bit of a heat wave and I was not very good at paying attention to it. So lots of brown, but that doesn't mean that the plant is unhealthy. It just has seen better days. I'll leave it at that. When I bring it in for the winter, I can definitely tend to all that browning. But when it's up here in this macrame thing and it's like 110 degrees or more outside, I'm not really motivated to be out here. It's okay for now, but when I bring it inside, it'll be much better. And the last plant that I'm going to show you is my Hoya Crimson Queen. Basically, this plant did nothing for me for a really long time, and then I put it outside, and months after being outside, it's finally doing something. Excuse me! This branch is new. You can see it's pink, which is really exciting. I think that if Hoya growth is pink, that means that it's getting like plenty of light. That's what I've heard, so really excited about this. And there's also new growth in a different part, but I'm not going to be able to find it right now. But anyway, this Hoya is super happy. It will be inside soon with all of my other Hoyas, but until then, it is going to be enjoying out here. Oh, there's the other new bits. I almost forgot to show you this weird planter box. It's a hanging planter box, which is really cool. I tied it up here with macrame cord. I don't know. This little bit right here, the hardware, is not strong enough to hold it, especially at this angle. So I just tied on some extra supports. And in here, I had succulents, but I'm just not a succulent girl, and this is becoming increasingly more obvious to me. But I do have potted plants just sitting on top of the soil, on top of the wreckage of my dead succulents. So that's awesome. This is a little peek into the realities of me. So this is a Christmas or Thanksgiving cactus. I'm pretty sure it's a Christmas cactus. Plant please, don't come for me. I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me which one it is specifically because it's cute either way. My grandma started this plant for me off of her big plant, and it has finally started to grow something. I can say that. It took forever, like almost a year. She gave it to me last Christmas, and finally we have something to work with. This is I think a zebra aloe from my mom's plant, and this baby has taken off really well. I've always been able to take care of this kind of succulent. I'm probably, I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of this pot because it's so big, and I could make another cactus garden. That is definitely an option for me, but we will see what I do. But this one definitely likes it in here. This is another succulent that I'm like, I don't know why it's alive or how it's alive, but it is. It's doing okay. It's usually purple, but it is super green. So this is a donkey's tail succulent, which is surprisingly doing well. Not like thriving, as you can see here, but we're doing our best, and it's doing okay. So I think with some good soil, I'll be able to keep this one happy. I'm thinking that I would plant it in this thing, but who knows? Honestly, who knows? So that would be all for this outside section. Alright guys, I wanted to say thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. That means literally so much to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I post new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, so definitely subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!